You're listening to the Arena Sports Network, the Quad County Experience, where every fan has a voice and every team has a fan.
You can't handle the truth.
When you put cameras right in our face, like, we really don't know what to say.
Oh, I'm supposed to say something?
I ain't got nothing to say.
Don't talk to me today.
Be smart what you say.
You want me to say something?
I got the mic there.
I got nothing funny to say.
I don't either.
I'm not Brett Favre.
Sorry to let them down.
Yeah.
Let's go, guys. It's a game. It's a game out here I want to play in. Someday with experience, we'll have something funny to say.
Pull out your recorders and cover your children's eyes. You're about to enter the afternoon locker room. And here we go inside the afternoon locker room with your host, Brian Snow.
Oh, yeah, baby. Monday, July 7th, the afternoon locker room is back in your ears after a week in Indiana. And we thank all the fans that tuned in to our live coverage of the 2014 NIBR District Tournament in Chesterton. Thanks to the good folks at McDonald's right off Highway 49 in Seatown for hosting us. Thanks to the folks at Chesterton High School for hosting us as well. Oh, man, too many people to thank for that. Vern Jefferson, thank you. Nick Dowd, Sir Dowd, as always, thank you. Bob Lang, thank you. Oh, man, what a week. What a week that we had in Seatown. And we want to thank everybody that's involved. There is a slight possibility that we may have the state tournament for you guys in South Bend, but it's going to take a lot for that to happen. Got to wait on a confirmation call first and foremost to see if that is indeed going to happen, and I hope to have that confirmation call within, I'd say within 24 to 48 hours. We will see, because the tournament is scheduled to kick off Wednesday. Real quick, the afternoon locker room presented, as is all of our programming, presented in part by LaPorteCountyLife.com. LaPorte County Life. Have you heard the good news? And also, we are presented today by what? Let me read this again. I want to make sure I get it right. Okay, it's this one. I recognize this card now. I wrote it so fast I didn't get a chance to look at it and put it on my monitor. We are presented by Gigahertz, the official computer solutions company of the Arena Sports Network. Just when you thought it was safe to make a decision, this happens. What am I talking about? In a moment, you'll understand.
Something happens in sports that cannot be explained. There's only one man who can tell us.
What the hell's going on out here?
These are the Lyle Files.
Excellent.
Yeah, baby, the Lyle Files are back loud and proud. And this afternoon, they're presented by Wood Forest Bank, the official bank of the Arena Sports Network. I led with a sentence. Just when you thought it was safe for a decision, and just when you thought you knew all the decisions, a wild card comes up. That's why I have this man on the line to help me break everything down, and it's broken down and then some. Courtesy of the Kukla Cupcakes hotline, the Lyle Files is with Michael Lyle. He joins me right now. What's up, man?
We got tons of wild cards to talk about today, Brian. Not just one, believe me. These last couple of hours have been excruciating because I'm sitting here waiting on pins and news to see who's going to make the first move in free agency in the NBA right now. It's crazy.
Dude,
can you believe it?
Let's go. Take the floor. Take it.
Well, I'm not sure if you heard, but earlier this morning, there were reports that, although I still think this is far-fetched, Brian, but there was some talk that the Cleveland Cavaliers now have emerged as one of the teams that are trying, and I emphasize the word trying, desperately to lure LeBron James out of Miami and back to his hometown.
Whoa. Time. Did you say the Cleveland Cavaliers?
That is correct. But yes, the same team that he spurred 4 years ago with that decision to move to his current home address in Miami has now all of a sudden reappeared on the map as of this morning, making some sort of move to try to get LeBron to Cleveland. How that happened, I have no idea. These are the mountain reports I've been watching on the web since this morning, and they are picking up steam as we speak.
They're picking up steam. Oh, wow.
And now, the further complicated matters now, say this does happen because now, in the last half hour, there's a report, ESPN's Chris Broussard is reporting that Chris Bosh could be leaving Miami, and he's considering this 4-year, $96 million offer from the Houston Rockets.
Well,
My friend, we got tons of action all over the place today with this free agency mess. There is no clear-cut favorite here.
No, there is. So now the big three, which looked like a lock to re-sign, now may disintegrate. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 24 hours. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, can you believe it? And then all of a sudden, the talk that we had originally was that we thought that all three had opted out for the reasons of trying to build this team back up to a contender because they got their tails whipped last month by the Spurs in the finals. So you were thinking they were all going to take significant pay cuts or at least make some type of money and leave some cap space for Miami to get some better players and help rebuild this team, like I said, to become a contender. But now, with all these crazy moves, and, you know what, Brian, it's always about the dollar signs. A lot of players say, well, it's never about the money. Let me tell you something.
It's all about the money.
4 years of and that brings me to Carmelo Anthony and the never-ending saga with that situation. Now, there was some talk over the weekend that he didn't meet with LA Laker officials, and the Knicks actually flew out there. Phil Jackson and his constituents met him out there to try and make a push to make sure he doesn't get picked up by the Lakers. But yesterday, there was some talk that Kobe Bryant himself, along with reportedly Kevin Love and Melo, all worked out at a facility on the campus of UCLA. So now, the story today is that it's coming down to 3 teams. Now, your Bulls, strangely enough, who looked like they were out of the water, have now reemerged as the top 3 teams that could be trying to land Melo. However, I still don't believe he's going anywhere, Brian, because you got the max deal, $129 million. I don't care who you are. I know you're all about winning. I know you want to win a championship. But if you got a guy like Phil Jackson and a new head coach in Derek Fisher, mind you, both of them who have won multiple championships combined, and you have a team that's moving in the right direction now, trying to bring some talent into this organization and become a contender again.
Right.
You're not going to stare down $129 million and say, oh, no, thank you. I don't care who you are.
Exactly.
You're not going to leave money on the table for other teams that are not going to give you the max deal at the Knicks are. So I still am sold on Melo returning, although we don't know because he's playing head games with everybody right now. And I still say that Melo at the end of the day will remain a New York Knick.
I'm beginning to believe even harder now that Melo will remain in New York, even though Houston tried to make a push for him by putting I don't know if you caught this picture over the weekend, but there was a picture that was posted late last week or into the weekend of Carmelo Anthony in a Rockets uniform wearing his number 7, which is currently worn by one Jeremy Lin. So all the storylines and connections there are one and the same and being streamlined there as well. Houston has not emerged as a front runner. I don't think the Lakers have either. Although the Lakers are trying to put some people in place to try to, dare I say this, unite LeBron and Melo. How the hell is that going to take place?
Right. Let me tell you something right now.
Break it down for me, brother.
LeBron James. There's a lot of people right now as it is that don't like LeBron James for many reasons, especially with that decision that he made 4 years ago when he left Cleveland to go to Miami.
Right.
If somehow, some way, and considering the circumstances with the Lakers, if they pull off this mega deal and win Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James on the same team, then, my friends, we are going to be very much looking at each other like, what just hit us? Because no one's going to see this coming. And it sounds like it would work, but I still don't say it. First of all, you got enough money to pay Carmelo and LeBron to come to L.A. Mm-hmm. First of all, it's Kobe Bryant's team. So you're
Absolutely.
not Kobe's not going to have a say-so in the matter. Okay? He's going to come back next year. Hopefully he'll be a healthy Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
That's the other thing you got to weigh in with these situations, Brian. You got to look at teams that have star players like Kobe, and look at Houston's situation. I mean, they were okay last year, but now you got to wonder, is Howard and Harden going to be on the same page? Is he throw someone else in the mix? And then, of course, the whole Bulls situation with Derrick Rose, I mean, it worked out, but now you wonder, is he going to be healthy enough to stay in shape like he was over the weekend, or is he going to fall back and regress like he did last year.
Yeah.
So many question marks regarding free agency when you make a move, and you got to look at the players, not so much the money. Who are you going to be relying with? Who are you going to be working with? Who are you going to be playing with that's healthy or not healthy? I'm not going to go somewhere that the star player is not where it's not 100%. I don't care how much money I'm making. I want to be somewhere where not only am I getting paid, but also going to be paid while playing with quality players that are going to help me win.
Well, you know, and the rumors are flying around like hotcakes. You and I talked briefly while I was on assignment earlier today that the rumor mill is hot and heavy, and believe me, it has gotten hot and heavy. And this Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James is just the tip of the iceberg, especially now with Cleveland emerging as a front runner. A question was posed when that story broke, and I want your opinion on this. If, and I do stress the word if, LeBron James were to return to Cleveland, is all forgiven? I knew you'd get a kick out of that question.
Because the reason why I laugh is because you have to imagine what happened just 4 years ago. I mean, time heals wounds. You're hoping that's the case.
Right.
I don't know how many fans will be forgiving of LeBron, but given the state of this Cleveland Cavaliers right now, I'm sure that if they were to land LeBron James, I'm sure they would be jumping off the bridge right now to have him come back for that same season he once left and was a star for many years. I would think that some fans would forgive him, although they wouldn't now want to see a championship because you can come back. And I think now the expectation is so much higher.
Yeah.
Not only are you going to come back to get back to Cleveland, now you're going to be expected the next season and every other season for that matter to win championships.
The thing that I was told, and I agree with the opinion that was told to me when this question was posed, is all forgiven if LeBron goes back to Cleveland? No, it is not. The only way that all will be forgiven if he decides to go back to the Cavaliers and go back home, and I put that word in quotes considering the last 4 years, is if LeBron brings to Cleveland what he was supposed to bring to Cleveland in his first 7 years there. That, of course, is a championship. Cleveland has not tasted a championship since 1948 with the Cleveland Indians. So if he goes back to Cleveland, my fear is that the entire state of Ohio, not just the city of Cleveland, the entire state of Ohio and their thirst for a championship will be heaped on their shoulders, and a few years down the road, the same thing that happened in 2010 will rear its ugly head.
Yeah, the cardiac room will be full out there, too, in Ohio if that does happen. I'm so all ecstatic about the fact the man's coming back. But, I mean, listen, this could be a nice little storyline for the NBA that they could use right now, but you're not out the woods yet with the Miami situation because also today, and along with the free agency match, they just signed Johnson Roberts to I believe it was a 4-year deal worth $22 million, according to ESPN's report. So Johnson Roberts is a bona fide big man that can pass the ball well. This is one of Miami's moves, and this is actually a coy by Pat Riley and try to convince LeBron, hey, now we're starting to make our own little moves. So perhaps you might want to take a look at what we're doing here first before you desert ship and go back to Cleveland.
But you have to also have to show LeBron, even though that Pat Riley is making moves, you have to wonder, how many miles does Josh McRoberts have left? Yes, he's a bona fide big man, but there are a lot of miles on his legs now.
There is a lot of miles on his legs, and that's what I was also going to add to that. They also got another deal in Danny Granger for Pacers for. Now, he agreed to a 2-year, $4.2 million deal. Again, this is all ESPN reporting what's been going on today. So I've been actively watching their wire and what's going on. And, of course, the local news around here.
Right.
It's been kind of quiet here on the Melo front, but I still believe that the decision was expected today from Melo. So it's now 4:14 here on the East Coast. We have yet to hear a word about what he's going to do, and we could be staying here until the end of the week. We don't know. The word was that was going to happen today, but who knows? This could all come down to another week-long event that he might wait for the end of the week to say something. I'm hoping that, obviously, a lot of fans like me are hoping they get it out of the way sooner than later. And, of course, what that means is that he might be wanting to bring other players with him to the Knicks. Well, supposedly he was trying to convince Paul Gasol to come to Manhattan if that does happen, if he does stay. So you got to look at this big picture. A lot of these free agents are also watching the moves of other players to see where they're going to end up before they make their own move.
And you brought up a name that's going to in my opinion, going to be an absolutely big player in this free agency game. We all know the megastars that are available. That's Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James. But Paul Gasol is going to be a real key piece to whether he goes to New York or, from what I've heard this past weekend, whether he comes to the Windy City. Something is going to give for Paul Gasol. Kobe Bryant, I believe, will not have Gasol as a teammate before the beginning of the season, but it is July. It is not September or October, so it's too early to tell. But with this first week of free agency free agency in full swing, you have to believe that the first feeling is the correct feeling with these players.
Absolutely. And also, Brian, again, we keep talking about the whole monetary situation, but listen, a lot of these guys are signing mega contracts with teams that they're not getting paid from with the current teams they're playing with. I mean, this whole Chris Bosh situation just took everyone by surprise today.
Mm-hmm.
The Houston Rockets were a last thought on everybody's mind that Chris Bosh would be going to, but now, according to a lot of the reports, is that he might consider taking this deal. And if that's the case, then yeah, that perhaps the Josh Roberts and Danny Granger signings by Miami would be real moves, because now you need to find somebody to replace a guy like Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
Robin and Granger would be the two guys that can help do so.
Right.
In case he doesn't make the move and go to Houston. So not only are you losing players, but now you got these owners got to play your cards right. You lose certain players, you better hope you got some players you got some other people on the free agent market you can pick up right away to replace them, and without hesitation. And it's like the draft almost. You got to swipe up who's available, and whoever accepts is available.
I have the article in front of me, courtesy of ESPN. It reads as follows. This is what my partner touched on earlier. Again, this is courtesy of ESPN.com. After talking with LeBron James this past weekend, Chris Bosh is seriously considering the Houston Rockets' maximum contract offer of 4 years, $88 million. Since opting out of the final 2 years of his deal, that worth $42 million with the Miami Heat, Bosh had planned to see what James decided before making his choice. But a conversation with James about his future in Miami this past weekend created enough doubt for Bosh to begin considering his offer options, including Houston's offer, a source said. The source said Bosh did not know whether James was staying in Miami. Let me touch that part here for a brief second. Bosh was the man in Toronto. He comes to Miami, becomes part of a championship team, and now he's opting out of his contract and considering a big offer from Houston, who already has Dwight Howard, who already has Jeremy Lin. If Bosh were to take this offer, how well would he fit in Houston?
Considering that if he took the offer, then he would already upgrade a team that already boasts Dwight Howard and Harden, and then you got Jeremy Lin in the mix. So that does give the Rockets a better defensive presence on the court, especially against the powers that be in the Western Conference. Does that make him a contender? Yes and no, because you still have the San Antonio Spurs to compete with, and this is what everybody's trying to do out there.
Right.
Everybody's trying to move the pieces of their puzzle so they can find players that can get on the court to compete with a team like San Antonio. Because as you can see, Spurs have been very quiet with their moves, although they just took care of four Seattle situation today. So they are pretty much not really worried about what's going on. They know what they have in place. Most of the staff is coming back from last year, so they're in pretty good shape. The rest of the league is pretty much moving their puzzles around because they want to get some players that are going to compete with the likes of San Antonio ultimately, because with the Miami situation, if they lose Bosh, you got to upgrade. Houston gets Bosh, now they're upgraded. But they still have a few pieces of their puzzle that they have to replace too now, because you cannot expect to have Houston compete with San Antonio for the Western Conference. You got the other teams out there. You got Golden State still. You still got Dallas out there. It's not a given that the Rockets are going to win the championship. Does this increase their chances if they do get Chris Bosh? Absolutely. Now, you also got to wonder what kind of system is he going to play in. Are you going to be a system where they can all share the ball? Because one thing I've also noticed about too many all-stars on one team, Ryan, it's never a good thing. Because then you got a lot of guys that like to hide the ball, that want to pass the ball, that want to share the rock. This is the problem, that creates diversion. So you got to hope these players that are going to these teams that are taking all this money with them are going to get some playing time and get an opportunity to put up the same numbers that they put up the season prior to making their deals with these new teams.
Let's look at the other side of the coin, and I touched on this morning. There was a story presented to me that Derrick Rose was not welcoming Carmelo Anthony to Chicago when Carmelo was here. And I had someone pose a question to me about it, and now I want to pose the same to you. The question that was posed to me was, do I agree with Derrick Rose's attitude about not welcoming Melo to Chicago? My answer was yes, and the reason is a reason that you and I have talked about so many times before, and that's building from within. If you're in Derrick Rose's position, although he hasn't been healthy for 2 years, that is understood, that is granted. Even though Derrick Rose has not been healthy for 2 years, he is one of the leaders of this team, and he believes that he can come back healthier, stronger, and faster. Jeff Van Gundy calls him the human blur. I really believe you will see all that with Derrick Rose. The mental toughness, I don't think it's going to be a question. And I agree with Derrick Rose's position in not welcoming Melo, and I put welcoming in quotes, because he believes in the team that is here, especially with Dougie McBuckets in town, and you want to, and I said it this morning, and you and I have talked about it, build from within. They want to take a piece from the Spurs playbook, but they don't want to do it with free agents. A lot of people call me nuts for this opinion, but I'm going to stick by it.
No, I agree. Again, it's fine. This is what you gotta like about free agency, because there's so many things that can happen. We can sit here and we can discuss this, we can break this down till the cows come home. At the end of the day, it's all about what ultimately happens. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we're reading about and hearing about and talking about, it all sounds good. But now it falls in the players' hands to decide ultimately what they want to do. Now,
right.
A lot of things seem to make sense because it does have a lot of money involved in it. And of course, it's always about money. And as we know, the NBA is a business. Not just winning championships anymore, Brian. It's about making money, too, because, listen, considering the economy we're living in right now as it is, a lot of players are like the league that want to make more money these days, too, not just want to win. So if you're going to tell me that a lot of players are going to just look at this and say, well, it's not about the money. No, it's about the money.
Yeah, it is.
Even though Melo hasn't made a decision yet, we're still waiting for him. I'm still sold that no one's going to leave over $30 million on the table to go play for the team, even though they may have a better chance of winning. But look at what you got going on, Brian. I'm going to be biased here for a second.
Go ahead.
Look what Phil Jackson has done. Look what Phil Jackson has done since he's arrived. He had to clean house, which was understandable because the team regressed big time this year. They went from 54 wins to 37 this year and missed the postseason. And arguably had one of their worst seasons in a long time. And we're showing signs of the old Knicks that we're not playing up to their expectations.
Right.
Now, Phil comes in, makes the move. He gets rid of all the players, he gets rid of the coaching staff. Very good move. Why? Makes room for a guy like Derek Fisher. Never has coached in his life. But he has been a proven winner on the court and off the court. Don't forget. He was the one who was the intricate part of keeping the NBA from getting locked out in 2011. When he was the president of the Players Association. So he does bring a leadership that the Knicks do desperately need on this team and in this franchise and in this organization, mind you. And before the draft, the Knicks were an afterthought, Brian. The Knicks did not have any draft picks before last week, or the week before last. And Phil orchestrated a trade, although it cost us one of our defensive players in Tyson Chandler. But the result was we got 2 good draft picks, and a lot of people think we got the biggest steal of the draft in Clean Anthony early from Wichita State, which is a big move and a great pick that I like because I think he's going to be a bona fide player. I don't think he can step in right away and help put the new offensive and defensive struggles that they had from last season. So Phil Jackson is making the moves. He's doing what he has to do. He's doing his job. He wants to bring the Knicks championship back to New York where it belongs, and he's doing everything in his power to convince Carmelo Anthony on this one. We'll give you the money. Just trust me and trust what we're doing here. You see what's going on. They're not just playing around. They're not just sitting here saying, well, we'll just play cat and mouse here. Whatever he does, we'll do it. He doesn't do it, we won't do it. I'm sure Phil Jackson realized that Carmelo Anthony is an intricate part of the team's future, and he's going to do everything in his power to keep him there. Whether it means getting the max deal or him taking close to the max deal and using some less money to sign some more free agents. We don't know. But I'm leaving it in the Phil's hands, and I'm trusting that he's going to make the right move. And I think Carmelo should keep that same mindset going. Listen, you came here for a reason. You want to win a championship. You love it here. Now you got some of the big boys in place out there help move those pieces around to get you that championship. So why don't you just wait it out and be patient? Because give it another year. This next summer, Brian, we will be talking. And you hearing this from me first. We will be talking about the Knicks making some drastic changes next summer and getting some very big names coming to Manhattan. Yeah. Guaranteed. I'm putting it on the table right now.
Go ahead, man. You know what? And I'm going to ride with you on that. I'm going to absolutely
they didn't buy Phil Jackson for all that money. They didn't give Phil Jackson all this money just for the coming and not messing around.
No. And
It's
he's
all
been
from
on the
New York,
floor.
it's not making-
Listen, Phil Jackson has been on the floor moving since he got to New York, okay? Since he got to New York, he's had his hands in the pot. He's been stirring it. He's been putting all the right pieces in place, period. And you got to love Phil Jackson for that. We're getting a cue here. This is Michael Lyle. This is Lyle Files Live this afternoon, presented by Woodforest Bank, the official bank of the Arena Sports Network. Mike Lyle, I thank you very much, my friend. I may have to have you on a couple of more times this week as the rumor mill either cranks up even another notch or even calms down. We don't know what's going to happen this week, so don't be surprised if I ask you to come back on, my friend.
My friend, we are far from finished with this whole free agency talk. It's just getting better and better each day.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You're right. We are far from finished. I appreciate it, my friend. I will talk to you soon.
Take care, my man. Always a pleasure.
Mike Lyle of Lyle Files and Lyle Files Live joining me this afternoon. I got Mike Green standing by, but let me bring up a point really quick before we go to a break. There was a thread posted on Facebook, and I'm trying to get some things together here. Hold on. There was a thread posted on Facebook that said rank these players. And the players that were listed, 2 of the 4 we already mentioned, LeBron and Carmelo. The other 2 in this list were James Harden and Kevin Durant. Now, I want you to keep a few things in mind. Kevin Durant is the current MVP. And James Harden was a teammate of Kevin Durant. But this conversation got so crazy. Here are some of the comments, and I'm doing this with the permission of my friend Trisha. I'm hoping to pull up some of these other comments. Let me go to the top of the pile, and the first couple of comments, nearly lost my mic there, were ranked in order. Were ranked, and the first person that commented said KD, Carmelo, LeBron, then Harden. One behind that went KD, Melo, LeBron, then Harden. If the conversation, and he added a very good point. When he said, if the conversation is strictly offense. How about that? If the conversation is strictly offense, that's how you would rank those 4. One person responded, Melo, Harden, LeBron, and then he put defense, LeBron. Okay, this is how he did it. He said for offense, Melo, Harden, then LeBron. Defense, LeBron, Melo, then Harden. I disagree with that comment. Okay, because the only one you didn't put on either of those 2 lists, is Kevin Durant, and they're not putting Kevin Durant in the conversation. I got much more on this, but we're going to shift gears and we're going to talk a little hockey, and we're going to go inside the green room as we. Okay, we're ready. I'm going to come back to this thread at another time. I'm probably going to do it tomorrow, but while I'm on right now, and while we're doing the express version of the Afternoon Locker Room on this Monday, I want to welcome a fellow who has become a mainstay on the Locker Room. We're ready to talk some hockey. 95 days before the puck drops, I'll have this gentleman on quite a few times. Let's go inside the green room and talk some Blackhawks hockey and some NHL hockey. I welcome Mike Green via the Kukla Cupcakes hotline. What's up, Mike?
How you doing, sir?
I am doing well, my friend. How are you? How was your 4th of July weekend?
Too short.
Absolutely right. I love it.
I tell you what, there were so many Fireworks and M80s going off in the neighborhood I live in. I thought we were under attack.
Listen, when I did my baseball tournament last week, we were hearing M80s like by the sixth inning of the first game, and the first game started at 5:30 Central Time. So we thought we were under attack because every time an M80 went off, we either thought, okay, someone hit a home run or someone's trying to kill us. What's going on here?
No, it was unbelievable. This went on like till early morning hours of the 5th. I'm like, all right, that's enough.
Gosh. Speaking of fireworks, our beloved Chicago Blackhawks have made a move under the radar that people are going to be talking about come October. And the move is this. They made a sign when everybody else, the St. Louis Blues, the Anaheim Ducks, the Los Angeles Kings, were making their signings. The Chicago Blackhawks snatched a former Conn Smythe Trophy winner into their stable. And that free agent's name is one Brad Richards, who has a Stanley Cup and a Conn Smythe Trophy under his credit, to his credit. How big, and I begin with this, Mike, how big is that signing for the Blackhawks to snatch up Brad Richards?
It's a big move in a lot of ways. Number one, it's low risk, high reward. To get him for $2 million in 1 year where he could have gotten more money anywhere else. And he just wanted to come to Chicago and compete for a Stanley Cup, and he gets to play with some real line mates, which most likely would be Kane and Saad or Hossa and Kane. He had, 60-plus points for the New York Ranger team that has mediocre wingers. Just imagine what he can do with his playmaking skills now that he's got some all-star talent on his wings.
And what should frighten everybody is that he's still got it. All right? He can still move. He can still get up and down the ice and set up teammates very, very well.
Well, he has great instincts on the ice, great awareness. He's a supreme passer, which will really help us on the power play, too. I think that's something a lot of people are not talking about. And like I said, he'll most likely have Kane or Host on his right side and Brandon Saad on his left. Now, those are some real wingers to play with. His point total, if he stays healthy, should increase.
Not only getting Brad Richards, but the pending contract extensions of one Jonathan Taves and one Patrick Kane, keeps the Blackhawks in more than relevant conversation. We already made the note that the Western Conference is really, really stacked. But making this move, getting Brad Richards, and there were a couple of other moves that the Blackhawks made.
That's correct. And they're not done yet because as of right now, they are $2 million over the cap. But they don't have to do anything about that until the season starts. But right now, they are $2 million under the cap. So one or two guys are going to have to go. But at least it won't be nothing like 2010.
Who do you think is going to? Who do you think is going to be the one that, or one or ones that take the fall, just for cap space reasons only?
Most likely Johnny Oduya, Sheldon Brookbank, or Michael Roosevelt. It could be a combination of two or just one. If they trade Oduya, they would get him underneath the cap right away. But I would look for Roosevelt and Brookbank to be the most likely targets, if not Johnny Oduya, as of right now.
How are the negotiations with Kane and Taves?
Well, it's gone on a little longer than everybody had hoped for. But when you're looking to sign two guys to 8 to 10 year extensions for millions of dollars, there's a lot of fine print that goes in these contracts, and it just takes time for this stuff to get hammered out. I would look for something this week to be announced by Stan Bowman. I'm not concerned about this at all. It will be done. They will be locked up.
And they're going to be locked up for a long time because, as we mentioned before so many times over, they are the faces of the franchise, period. And they are one of the ones that brought on or helped spur on this Blackhawk renaissance. Are there any other glaring holes that the Blackhawks need to fill either before the season starts or through the course of the regular season to get us back to the Clarence Campbell Bowl and get us back to the Stanley Cup?
Well, in my opinion, I still think they could use another puck-moving defenseman. The Hawks play an up-tempo transition style of game. They want to go, 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 turn the game into a track meet. If anything, they could use another defenseman that can move the puck. Other than that, this team is loaded.
This team is loaded, and we talked about how they did in the draft to be even more loaded, being in the enviable position that is of Stan Bowman, that is of Joel Quenneville. How much fun is Joel Quenneville going to have coaching the kids that we drafted and bringing them up from time to time throughout the season?
Well, right now there just isn't a lot of room on the roster for the young guys from Rockford. You got Kevin Hayes who's still sitting out there who has to be signed by August 15th.
Right.
He wants to play the NHL right away. The problem is there's no room for him here. So he's talking about, signing elsewhere, and the Hawks would get like a second or third round pick for his rights. So there just isn't a lot of room for the kids. It sounds like Teravainen's going to start the season in the minors unless he really has a great training camp. So, with the signing of Brad Richards, they can take their time with Teravainen. They don't have to rush him at all.
Where do you see Richards on this team? Where is he going to help? I've heard everything from second line center or third line center. Where do you see Brad Richards fitting in the most and the best?
Well, second line center, where he would fit the best. Now, depending on injuries or whatever, he could fall down to a third line center. But right now, second line center is where he's going to be penciled into, playing between, like I said, either Kane or Hossa on the right side and Brandon Saad on the left. And that's just going to be a lethal second line.
It is going to be a lethal second line. How much will Richards help the power play?
Well, like I said, he is a dynamic passer and playmaker, and you can just look at his assist totals and see that. Now he's going to be surrounded with a lot more skill, so you can just imagine how much he could help in a power play. You could put him out there with Kane and Taves, and you could have two centermen on the power play. Both are elite passers, and I would look for Quenneville to probably experiment with that.
Is he going to share any time with Seabrook on the back end?
What, Richards on the point?
Yeah.
Well, that's very possible. But their power play setup is really mostly Keith and Leddy on the point. Keith and Seabrook, and sometimes Nick Leddy on the point. It just all depends how the power play is going. If they go into a drought, Quenneville will do a lot of experimenting. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Richards on the point on the power play. Like I said, he is a dynamic passer.
Okay, and we talked about how big the signing of Brad Richards is going to be, how he's going to help, and how it's going to help the morale of this team. Like the morale of this team needs any more help. 2 cups, 4 conference finals appearances. The fans are back. The roar is back. One more piece. If you could pick out one more piece that the Blackhawks would need that would send them over the top for this coming season, what is that piece?
Well, like I said, in my opinion, I still think they could use another puck-moving defenseman, considering the style of game that they play.
Mm-hmm.
If they had one more little bit of item, they might have to get maybe a fourth-line guy on the wing with some grit, with some toughness.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, this team is just loaded. I just can't wait for this thing to start. LA's got our cup. We want it back.
Yeah, the Kings took our cup. We want our cup back. Inside the Green Room with Mike Green this afternoon. It is presented by Wood Forest Bank, the official bank of the Arena Sports Network. Hey, folks, ASN is always looking for some good sponsors and advertisers. Give a call to 219-814-3091. Mike Green, thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the time.
All right, take care, my friend. I will catch up with you later.
Mike Green inside the Green Room with us. I'm going to go back to a conversation. I'm going to go back to a thread that I saw on Facebook a few moments ago, and it's going to take us out of here. It's the Afternoon Locker Room, the Express Edition. You're hearing it live on the Arena Sports Network. Have you heard the good news about a crazy dream based on a belief that positive breeds positive and that people want to read, hear, and watch stuff about good people? Have you heard the good news about a place you can go to enjoy positive, community-oriented information about the town, city, or region you live in and the people involved? Have you heard the good news about a place where you can celebrate what is right in the world, share it with your friends, family, and community, and neighbors at school, work, or place of worship, and have fun doing it? Well, there is such a place. That place is LaPorteCountyLife.com. LaPorteCountyLife.com is all about the positive, not the negative, bringing out the best and not the worst, and all about promoting positivity in your community. LaPorteCountyLife.com. Have you heard the good news? When Mother Nature takes your dream away, Rich Construction can bring it back to stay. 5,000 properties have been restored by Rich Construction in over 35 years of service. Rich Construction works for the insurance settlement, acting as a connection between you and the insurance adjuster. They will protect your interests by preparing a detailed list and negotiating every item with the insurance adjuster. With over 35 years of experience, Rich Construction can begin restoration immediately once the insurance adjuster and Rich Construction agrees upon the estimated damages. Prior payment for the construction is not necessary, and no one can put you back in your home faster than Rich Construction. Contact John Crocker for your free consultation today. Give them a call at 219-322-9200. That's 219-322-9200. Rich Construction Company, fire and insurance restoration specialists. Let us take the burden off your shoulders.
Chow down with the Italian collection at Subway.
Delicioso.
Try the Mongelis's Chicken Pizziola Melt, a fresh take on Italian with tender, juicy chicken, zesterific pepperoni, and plenty of our signature recipe marinara sauce.
Perfecto.
Mamma mia! And taste the amore with the Meatball Pepperoni Melt, a kickin' combination of Italian-style meatballs and pepperoni on your favorite freshly baked bread.
Only at Subway.
And only for a limited time.
Don't miss out.
Subway. Eat fresh.
I represent the Excelsior Appliance and Appurtenance Company Incorporated with a complete line of household appliances and appurtenance. Is the lady of the house in? What?
Testing. 1, 2. Oh, sorry. You're listening to the Afternoon Locker Room on the Arena Sports Network. Is this thing on? Nearly forgot I have this on. Coming down the stretch here on the Afternoon Locker Room on this Monday Express edition. And this afternoon, it's presented by LaPorteCountyLife.com. LaPorte County Life, have you heard the good news? Mike Green, thank you very much. Michael Lyle, thank you very much. Don't be surprised if I hear from these gentlemen later on this week. This next segment is for a dear friend of mine. Her name is Marianne Slynn. And I got to have a talk with this lady because there's a couple of things she's going to show me. I'll explain that as we go along. The thread I had talked about was courtesy of my friend Trisha. I'll hit that more tomorrow. But there was a video that was posted, and I'm trying to find it, and I just found it. There was a video that was posted. My friend John Kalau was the first to do so. And it had 10 of Michael Jordan's greatest plays. So I decided to take it and run with it, of course. And the way I took it and ran with it, what I did was I posted this video and I put a comment. I shared this video, I should say, and I put a comment behind it. And the comment that I put behind it was this. Just in case you LeBron fans need a reminder of who the real king is, the original number 23. That's the comment I put on this. And Marianne, my dear friend, caught it and said, sharing this. Thank you for sharing. She said, thanks for sharing this. The reason I did that, amidst all the LeBron talk that's going on right now, amidst all the Carmelo free agency, seeing this video reminded me of one thing and one thing only concerning number 23. He didn't want to play with you. He wanted to beat you. He was one of the ultimate competitors. The old schoolers before him. And she just sent me a message. She's smiling that I'm doing this subject right now. All of the competitors before MJ were like MJ. And I mean that in the term of being ultra competitive, in the term of wanting to win purely for the pleasure of wanting to win, purely for the pleasure of gaining championships. Mike Lyle made a point earlier in the show today that in today's age, it is all about the money, which is also true. But during the golden age of the NBA, and we're talking the 70s, the 80s, up till, I'd say about 1995, it was not all about the money. It was about beating the people that were put in front of you opponent-wise. It was about beating the opponents that were put in front of you on the schedule. It was about beating the opponents that were placed in front of you, having a great season, and taking that momentum during the season into the playoffs. It was about the cream of the crop rising to the top when the playoffs showed up and everybody else falling down, period. It was about establishing a legacy, a dynasty, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to title it. Because that is how they played professional sports back then. Not just professional basketball, but professional sports. They wanted to establish and leave a memory with you that will not be duplicated. And never will be duplicated. I made references to teams like that, already. I made references and I'm sending a message to another friend. I made references to how the game has changed, and I'm using basketball as a reference right now, especially with all of this doggone free agency stuff going on. That's why I posted the video. It was a reminder to me and to a few others of how great basketball was once upon a time, and I mean that in terms of the competition. I mean that in terms of when two teams got on the floor, and I'll give you the most prime example that I can think of. When the Celtics and the Lakers got together, be it in the Boston Garden or in the Forum, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish on one side, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, Magic Johnson on the other side. They put their heads they knocked heads and they shook hands, but when the ball goes up, it was time to play. It was time to leave everything out on the floor. It was time to play basketball. It was time to either beat your opponent into submission or be the last team standing. When I say beat him into submission, I'm talking about a blowout the proportion of the Memorial Day Massacre in 1985. May 31st, 1985, when the Celtics blew out the Lakers 148-114 in Game 1 of the World Championship Series. It was either a beatdown like that or it was a dogfight, and the score won't indicate it. The score will not indicate it. I go back to the 84 finals with the Celtics and the Lakers. 90-degree heat, and this is another reference to LeBron James, okay? LeBron James exited Game 1 of the finals with cramps. Every player in the 84 finals in Game 5 played through cramps. They played through exhaustion. Everything you can think of that went on in the Boston Garden because it was sweltering heat in the Garden, they all played through it. The Celtics were just better, period. I had a question posed to me, is this league soft? Right now, hell yeah, it is. There is no competition anymore. There is no true competition. Y'all can be friends off the court anytime you want, but when it's time to step between those white lines, it's time to play ball. There is no kind of true competition like that anymore. That's why I posted the video that I posted and the comment behind it. Because I've run into so many fans, and I put that word in quotes for a reason. I've run into so many fans that think they know basketball because of the LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade era. I'm telling you something. Y'all don't know a doggone thing till you do some research, till you find out about the players that preceded them. Not just Michael Jordan, who preceded them. When you find out about players from a guard standpoint, include Michael Jordan in this bunch. When you find out about players like Magic Johnson, when you find out about players like James Worthy, when you find out about players like Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson, Danny Ainge, when you find out about players like Byron Scott, when you find out about players like Maurice Cheeks, Andrew Toney, Bobby Jones, one of the best defensive forwards ever in the NBA, Bobby frickin' Jones, who played his entire career with the Philadelphia 76ers. Y'all forgot that, haven't you? This league has become the NBA today, even though with all the free agency moves that are going on here, and I'm getting a thumbs up from my producer to go with it, and I'm going to go with it, and we're going to close the show out like this. This league has become so money-oriented. And I know a retort that's going to come to me. Get a supporter here. Hold on. I know a retort that is going to come to me about how Michael Jordan really changed the game. You know how Michael Jordan changed the game? The only way Michael Jordan changed the game is he made it global, showing the true competition of it with everybody surrounding him. That's how he made the game global. He showed the competition of it. Was he a marketing material? Hell yeah. Not going to deny that. Can't deny it. But aside of marketing products, he marketed competition. You don't see that anymore. The decision closed the book on that. The decision slammed the door shut on that. I was talking to my friend Trisha last week when I was gonna hit this thread. I'm gonna hit it tomorrow. Believe me, I will. But I was talking with her, and in a group called 2 Minute Warning on Facebook, I asked her, when did you think the league started changing? You know the year she gave me? 2000. In many ways, that's a what is the word I'm looking for? That's a marker. 2000 is a marker. But I want to say a few years earlier, about 1995, became a marker as well. So either one of those two years, and my friend M.A. is tuned in, and I thank you for that, dear. Either one of those 2 years, but especially with 2000, 2000, in my opinion, to piggyback on Trisha's answer when she said 2000 changed the NBA, 2000 started the slow decline of playoff competition. And what I mean is this. 2000 started the decline of a little word we like to use called a rivalry. 2002, the door was slammed shut. And why do I mention 2002 as the year the rivalry died in the NBA? Because you saw one of the most fierce Western Conference finals ever when the Lakers and the Kings got together for 7 games. Let's take the conspiracy out of the equation, okay? We all know what happened in Game 6. Everybody has their opinions of what happened in the Staples Center, and believe me, I'm going to be talking about that at another time. Let's just take the pure competition of that Western Conference final. Sacramento came from absolutely nowhere. They had a couple of years when they made the playoffs, but they were eliminated. One year by Utah, 1 year by the Lakers. I want to say they were eliminated by the Lakers in both 2000 and 2001. I'm going to get some help on that. But you saw the purest of competition with that final. And that is when everything changed. And you know, I can attribute it to something else, and you may think it's trivial. You may think this is trivial to when everything changed, but I really believe everything changed, or really, really began to change on a national and global stat of people watching basketball when ABC took control of the NBA contract. A lot of people that I have spoken to identify with the NBA on NBC. And yet there are people that can identify with the NBA being on CBS for many years. When ABC had it in the 60s and 70s, it was cool basketball to watch. See, this is how the progression went. 60s and 70s, it was on ABC, and it was cool to watch and listen to. Chris Schenkel, one of the famous voices, Keith Jackson as well. Then CBS had it. You had Brent Musburger, Dick Stockton, Frank Lieber, the late Frank Lieber, before he passed. James Brown got a couple NBA games in. Vern Lundquist, longtime CBS voice. Then the NBA on NBC happened in 1990, and it just, I can't say a word, blossom. It exploded. The NBA on NBC put the perfect package together. It was must-see television. It didn't involve cable. It didn't involve a subscription like it does now. About the late 90s, that came with NBA.com. I want to say that was 1996 when that happened. But the last great rivalry was 2002 with the Lakers and the Kings. And the reason I say that is because we saw the end of two kinds of eras. We saw the end of the rivalry, and we also saw the end of real NBA competition. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, recently the finals have been great. No, they haven't. It's kind of like you knew the outcome before they had it. And I'm going to make one reference, then I got to get the heck out of here because I got to go to a meeting. I'll make one reference to that point, and this is an opinion and opinion only. All right? If you're going to strike something, strike my opinion. But my honest opinion is this. I think the 2013 finals were determined before they were even played. And the 2013 finals also illustrated how soft the NBA has become. Everybody wants to play with each other, not against each other now. All these players want to form super teams. Let me tell you something. They formed super teams back in the day by drafting. If a good deal came along, like Joe Barry Carroll going to Golden State and Robert Parrish coming to Boston, go with it. Go with it. You don't build from without, you build from within. So they need to learn now. And until they start doing that, the competition will never be the same again. Never. Got to get out of here. Thanks for listening, everybody. We hope that you enjoyed it. I'm going to have Mike Green join me tomorrow for some more NHL talk, and we'll follow the rumor mill as it goes. Have a great day, everybody. God bless. Make your next move your best move. So long, everybody.